Today's podcast, are you getting the right advice from your lawyer? Happens all the time. We all go to lawyers, we ask direct questions. What should I do? What would you do? Well, understand this. Before a lawyer or really anyone can give advice about anything, but generally legal advice, this is especially true, the lawyer has to be able to list the important factors to the client as to what makes a particular case worth doing or not, and then explain the strengths and weaknesses of each of those factors. So, for example, someone comes to me and says, I've been harassed at work, has a laundry list of items that happened to him or her. Should I sue? Is this a good case? All right, so we look at a number of factors that I will explain to the person what would make this case worth doing or not worth doing. Right? A lot of people, they go to lawyers, lawyer will just say, oh yeah, good case. Oh, sure, yeah. Ask them why? Why is it a good case? What's good about it? What is it that compels you to tell me to go for this? Well, we look at, for example, number one, are there witnesses in the case? If someone comes here and says, I've been sexually harassed and this has been witnessed by a couple people and here are their statements, that's a pretty good case generally. It's rare that people come forward like that. It's happened before. We've had cases like that. Witnesses. Who are the witnesses? Do you necessarily need witnesses to win a particular case? No. There are some cases you don't need witnesses at all. There might be incriminating documents. There might be emails where the supervisor basically concedes the liability of the case. That happens a lot. Sometimes those cases are just airtight, where there's no witnesses, and it's just all documents that are right in front of the lawyer and soon in front of a judge and then later in front of the jury. Another factor. Is there already a contract governing the parties as to what would happen here? Other factors I have. The wow factor. Is there something that happened to this person that leaps off the page that says, wow, this was really horrendous and horrific? An example in one of our other podcasts we have is the guy who had the disability and he wanted to telework and he wasn't allowed to telework. He had to be at the office and then bam, COVID hit and then he was forced to telework. Okay, that's a wow, leaps off the page. How in the world could the employer have claimed he had to be at the office when there was COVID and he wasn't allowed to be at the office? Last factor, is there a deadline? Is there something that right now has to be done? And if it's not done right now, the client or potential client loses the ability to bring a case forever and ever. These are critical factors. I mean, think about it. You're going to buy a house. Should I buy this house? That house might be in another city, might be in another state. Well, you're going to want to know the factors that make that investment good or bad. What's the market doing? How much money will you need? Where are you going to live? Are you moving for a job? Are you moving for family? Are you moving to get away from family? I think that good advice is given from a lawyer to a client when the lawyer can list and explain the whys. Why would this be a good case? Why the fact that you say you were harassed and you have no witnesses that say that, and there's nobody you think will say that for you? Why that may still be a good case if you have a lot of documents and communications that show the harassment. These are the factors that kind of move the needle. Should you do this? Should you not do that? And I think the last point that I'd make is it's very important, I think, for a client to go through the formalities of a full consultation usually an hour long, with an attorney, because that's going to give, in many cases, some cases even that isn't enough time, but in most cases, that's going to give enough time for the client to explain to the lawyer enough information so that the lawyer can list those factors, explain why each of those factors might be helpful for your case, might not be helpful for your case, explain things like how long something like this could take approximately, the financial investment that may be required, chances of winning a lot of money or winning your job back or not winning or something like that, to the extent attorneys can do that. Compare that to someone who you tell your problem to, let's say on a plane, and you're trying to pass the time on a long flight, and that person gives some advice. Well, think about it. 10 minutes after you've picked up your luggage, you have totally forgotten that person because you don't have any of the formalities of a real advice session where the person has heard, has reviewed stuff, has looked at documents, has heard enough information, and has enough of a background to explain the options to you. Not what you should do, but the options to you and the whys of what would make the case particularly worth doing or not. If you believe you have a case, you may even have a lawyer right now that you may not like, someone who may not be giving you the right advice or listing enough factors or explaining the whys of the case, give us a call. We are here to help. If you like what you've heard in this or other podcasts, subscribe to our channel.